Welcome, everybody, as we head into this 4th of July weekend. And I'll go off on every year, do a bit of a 4th of July rant. Talk about that a little bit later. Again, markets yesterday, whipsaw back, forth, tried to make a comeback, trading back down. I'm being honest. I've been telling people this for a while. I don't expect much moving forward. If it turns soon, it turns soon. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Does it changing anything that I'm doing? No, I'm still dollar cost averaging. And the reason why I dollar cost average in the high quality companies is because I don't know when it's going to turn. It could be next week, could be next month. It could be the fourth quarter of this year. It could be the first quarter of 2023. It doesn't matter. It's going to do it. It's going to do it. And honestly, if your time frame is shorter than that, well then you might want to buy a CD, okay? Because the markets are not for you. Again, you take a look at the market performance. They keep highlighting it. First 6 months of the year hasn't been this bad since 1970. Again, a lot of this stuff self-inflicted. Most of it self-inflicted. From the Fed printing too much money, the government spending too much money, flying a helicopter over the country, dropping cash, and to think that there weren't going to be repercussions for this is patently absurd. Take that part. You can also take apart the aspect that we've got an administration that's been real tough on domestic energy. It's been real tough on business. More regulations piled on top of more regulations, piled on top of more regulations. And now you got to deal with ESG, and now you got to deal with this. You got to deal with that. I mean, come on. I went off on a rant a month or two ago. I got to buy ESG insurance. Now, whatever the flip that is. Anyway, I'm still pissed off about that. I really am. Anyway, this is a story, Art Laffer, Stephen Moore in the Wall Street Journal talking about the key to solving the problems we have right now is growth. They talk about it's not being austere, it's not austerity. Well, I wish they hadn't phrased it like that, because when I think of the word austerity, I think of the government tightening its belt, and I'm all for that. I think we need that more than ever. I think the government right now, you want to get out of this predicament we're in right now, government cuts spending to the bone. We're not doing that. I mean, we got another, United States, NATO, G7 Belt and Road Initiative, $600 billion, sending money to the Ukraine, more spending on top of more spending on top of more spending with money we do not have. Government cuts, austerity, tax cuts, getting rid of regulations. All you need to do is to create an environment. Create an environment where people want to build and create. That's all it is. The conditions need to be right. Think about it this way. Think about you want to grow a tomato plant, and you're doing it with seeds, and you need soil, and you need water, and you need sunlight, and you need warmth. You need all of these certain conditions in order to grow this tomato. And the same exact thing holds true with business. Now, certain conditions, different conditions can be present where businesses are looking to go out there and build and create. And one of those conditions are ultra low interest rates. Ultra low interest rates, think of ultra low interest rates, to hydroponic tomatoes. We'll make a comparison to hydroponic tomatoes, a different way of growing tomatoes. It's a different way of growing an economy. Money's free. Money is essentially free, and it's everywhere. It's easy to come by. No matter how many times you screw up, no matter how long it takes for you to get into the black, there's money there. Well, that's one way of doing it, but we don't have those conditions right now. And those types of conditions lead to, guess what? Inflation. So what do we need to do? We need to get the government under control again. And this is part of the problem. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't, quite frankly, I don't trust the Republicans to do it. They're full of crap. Okay? They all spend. George W. Bush spent. Loves his wars. Donald Trump spent and spent and spent. None of them look to get the government under control. So I don't have any faith in them. Most certainly don't have any faith in the Democrats. So we got to start choosing a little bit better who represents us in Washington, D.C. Well, let's say we don't get that. Well, you can get the hell out of the way. Government can get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let companies feel like it's safe, that they're not going to get hammered by the government. Do away with regulations. Make it easier for people to go out and build and create. It's another great way of dealing with inflation. Speaking of inflation, grocery cart inflation jumps to the highest level in 42 years. Yeah. I see it. I can't believe it. I see it on the credit card bill, what our grocery bill is, and it's mind-blowing. It really is. It's mind-blowing. And everybody's saying the same thing. I own a grocery store. I spent $200 and I got half a cart. Sucks. Gut punch. Mike Tyson gut punch that people are taking all the time. You expect people to be happy about this? The Atlanta Fed has slashed its second quarter GDP to negative 1%, which would obviously push the first half of 2022 into a contraction. Whether or not the high priests at the NBER in Cambridge decide to call it a recession, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that they're going to make the argument that the jobs market is too tight. Unemployment levels are too low for them to call a recession. But we're not growing. We're not growing right now. In certain areas of the economy are doing pretty well. Some of the service sectors and some of the travel sectors are doing pretty well. People have been jonesing to get out and about. And I most certainly think that there's a shift, but I think, without a doubt, people are making adjustments and they're spending. They are. I wanted that new lawnmower this year. Wanted to get that new lawnmower this year, but you know what? I'm going to skip on that. Other stuff is way too expensive. Again, that resonates. People will adjust how they're spending money, and this is why there's certain companies on the defensive side that will do well during downturns like this. Restoration Hardware, high-end furniture store, home furnishings store, and I own some stuff by them. There's no doubt about it. They've been hammered. What was their stock down yesterday? Another 11%. The thing has been crushed. First and foremost, they most certainly dealt with major supply chain issues. I bought a piece of furniture from them for our living room, and it took a year. It took a year. And then it kind of ticked me off because they told me it wasn't going to take a year. Then they told me it was going to take a certain period of time. Oh, yeah, supply chain issues. People eventually get frustrated and they say, you know what, forget it. I did the same thing. Another company, Williams and Sonoma, they own West Elm. So I ordered a table and chairs from West Elm. I wait. It's going to be here by this date. The table comes in, but they don't want to deliver the table without delivering the chairs, and the chairs haven't come in. So they start charging for me for a table that I don't have, eventually push comes to shove, a couple other things. I'm like, you can keep it. You can keep it. I don't want it. Sure, it's happening on a regular basis because let me tell you what's going to happen. Again, I'm going to look around. I want an outdoor table and chairs. Guess what? They're going to be on sale. They're going to be on sale at Target. They're going to be on sale at Walmart and many other places. Everybody's going to be looking to draw down their inventory. Major sales coming soon to a theater near you. All right, this is a phenomenal ruling. Okay, yesterday, Supreme Court in the West Virginia versus the EPA, and it puts some barriers, puts a fence up to some degree between the administrative state and the real world. I mentioned this before here on the program. We have a legislative branch of government that has decided that they don't want to do their job anymore. Their job is to legislate, to create law. Okay, or to dismantle laws. They basically become a money-raising operation that likes to hold investigations and get themselves on TV on a regular basis. What exactly do? They don't write budgets. We just have continuing resolutions. They don't even do that. We've turned into a country where almost everything is done via the executive branch of government. We have way too much power concentrated in that branch. Our founders wanted us to be more like ancient Rome. When Rome was a republic, they had checks and balances as well, and they wanted those same checks and balances, and we really don't have them to the degree that we used to anymore. I always harken back to that Saturday morning Schoolhouse Rock little cartoon PSA that they used to run when I was a kid. And it's one, I'm just a Bill, just an ordinary Bill, sitting here on Capitol Hill. And the whole thing was how a bill becomes a law. Well, what we have is these various different acronym agencies: Securities and Exchange Commission, the FCC, the FDA, the EPA. They all act. And again, like I mentioned before, I'm not against regulations. I don't have any problem with that. But when regulations are changing the dynamic of our economy, and quite frankly, the regulations need to be put into law, and then the regulatory agencies, if they want to go out and police these things to make sure that they're being followed, fine. But they shouldn't be creating the rules out of the diktat from the current occupant in the White House. We don't have a king. There's a check on the executive. There's a check on the president. The president of the United States might want to curtail, let's say, coal-fired electricity. Go back. Barack Obama said he was going to put it out of business. He may want to do that, but he's not a king. He cannot say, I declare, I decree. He has to work with Congress. He did. And the founders of the country, in particular James Madison, was well aware of factions and mob rule. And that's why they created the Senate, and they have a bicameral legislature to slow down public fervor when things get out of control. We have a great system if we apply it. We have gotten away from that, and it's gotten worse instead of better. We don't even declare wars anymore. That power is supposed to be the purview of Congress. We don't even do that. We got police actions, continuing resolution, all this bullshit. And it needs to be brought into check. And quite frankly, now is the time. The court that you have right now, and it's a very short time. It's a small window. There should be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit filed challenging the constitutionality of so many things in this country which are unconstitutional. They should be dismantling all of this nonsense. We need to return to states' rights. Again, putting the Constitution first and foremost. Now, I know a lot of the environmentalists have lost their mind when it comes to this. Oh my God, people are going to be put. No, listen, okay? You want to take the country in a certain direction. Okay, you do that. You do that at the ballot box. You put people into power and you pass laws. That's how it's supposed to be done. So we'll see what's going to happen moving forward. Again, I've mentioned this here on the program, and I don't like to. If you think that if I show any pleasure in the United States of America being embarrassed on the world stage, no. And it's gotten to the point where it's embarrassing. It's getting to the point where you've got other newspapers around the globe that are starting to cover for us to some degree. Okay? They're starting to cover for us. This latest, and again, everybody's patting themselves on the back and they're high-fiving, and this great G7 meeting that accomplished nothing. Not only did it, not only did it accomplish anything, it made us look dumb. It made us look dumb. We go to this G7 meeting and we suggest price caps. That's what we came up with? Price caps? You see, you become, it's an old saying, it's better to be thought of, keep your mouth shut, and someone to think you might be an idiot than to open up your mouth and remove all doubt. Yeah, on the way out yesterday, and they kind of they shelved the whole Russian price cap idea that was put forward. Quiet. Maybe nobody will notice. Maybe Biden won't notice. It's embarrassing. It really is. And I don't like saying it either. I don't like saying this, but this war of attrition in the Ukraine, the G7 countries, I don't know who's advising these people. They obviously must be military contractors, neocons, whatever you want to call it. I don't know who's advising them. They think that they're going to turn Ukraine into Vietnam for Russia. War of attrition. Again, let's look. I mean, who's hurting more from this right now? Who is hurting more? Who's bearing the brunt of this war? I mean, take a look around this country. What's going on here right now? I mean, okay, so that's you are what your record says you are. Let's look at the scoreboard. Well, the Russians defaulted on about. No, they didn't default. Okay, newspapers might call it that way, but again, they have the money to pay. They're just not allowed to pay right now because of certain sanctions. Ooh, you seize some of their yachts. Again, these countries, they act tough, puffing out their chest. And again, I don't like saying this. Okay? I don't like to say, I'm talking about my team. You understand? I'm talking about my team. I want Russia out too. So, we're going to start seizing oligarchs' yachts. Okay, so guess what? Now you've got their yacht. Many of these yachts, and they're not going to be cruising around the Greek islands or Sardinia this summer. You don't think that they're going to be going away on vacation? They'll be fine. And guess what? You seize them, but you don't even have the balls to sell them. If you guys actually had a say, if this wasn't just some big dog and pony show, you'd say, you know what, we're selling all of these yachts and we're going to use the money to buy weapons to send to the Ukraine. But you don't even have the balls to do it. So shut the hell up. Biden yesterday, oh, we're going to be into this. And reporters are asking, how long the citizens of the United States going to go along with, the citizens around the world going to go along with this? As long as it lasts. Yeah, we'll sacrifice as many Ukrainian people as we possibly can. Come on. Come on. Maybe you think about it, maybe, quite frankly, maybe Putin's testing us, testing NATO. And again, I'm going to call it like I see it. All of this big talk about Germany rearming up. They're going to start spending money on the military again. These European nations, they're going to start this expansion. Again, NATO says they're going to have a force, 300,000. They didn't say who's going to make up the force. How many people want to bet that the overwhelming majority of that force in Europe is going to be American? Anybody doubt that? Nah, me either. And again, it just makes me nauseous. The whole thing does. Mentioned this yesterday on the program, and again, this is I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand what any of them were thinking. Some EU capitals, including Germany, are concerned that Lithuania's enforcement of the sanctions could trigger a dangerous escalation from the Kremlin. Okay, they wanted Lithuania to enforce sanctions and not allow goods to get into Kaliningrad, which is Russian territory. And again, what we're looking at right now is Russia starts moving weapons too close to Lithuania. What did you hope to get out of this? Did you think this through at this point in time? You ever say that your kid does something? What in the world were you thinking? I mean, what was going through your mind when you thought that this was a good idea, where you're going to have Lithuania cut off an area that is Russian from getting what they need, their supplies, their goods, and you expect them to stand up to Russia? What were you thinking? Anyway, story, William Bennett today, stories, editorial Wall Street Journal, and he was good. He used to be Secretary of Education, and in this he talks about teaching in the schools and teaching all aspects of U.S. history, all aspects of our story. And in the economy talks about how it's going to help depoliticize education and foster democracy. And I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. We are an amazing country with an amazing story, but we have scars, and we most certainly have warts, and we most certainly are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And you want to teach the parts. You want to get in depth into the parts where, guess what? We screwed up. We screwed up. We did the wrong thing here. We got involved here in the wrong way. All of these things are of monumental importance. You don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past. So it's a great column. I do. I don't think that the teaching America is founded on racism, it's a racist country. Shut up. Okay? Shut up. But guess what? Has it been an issue throughout our history? Damn straight it has. And it should be taught. I don't have any problem with that at all. I don't know, it's just so many people have just this problem with the truth. Truth goes against their own narrative. They're going to take the narrative every single time. This is fascinating. There was a survey of 1,000 registered U.S. voters revealed that most Americans agree. Most Americans think that the government is corrupt and rigged. Most Americans feel that the government is corrupt and rigged. 25% said they take up arms against the government. Maybe some point in time, maybe they should have like a trigger poll like this. You take on a vote. It's like a vote of no confidence. Imagine we had a vote of no confidence in our leadership here in this country. And if you could get more than 50% of the population, more than 50% of the population to have a vote of no confidence, they think the government's corrupt. Everybody has to, we have to do a revote on everyone. Everyone gets thrown out. And all Congress, White House, gone. And we have a vote, new elections, and none of those people can run it. I think it's a good idea. Huh? Don't you? Get rid of them all? I mean, listen, you get more than 50% of the country. Maybe make it 60. I don't know. Come up with a number. But it's almost like an ejector seat. You could eject Congress. You could eject whoever's in the White House if people are that dismayed over the direction of the country. Again, more than 50% of respondents says the government is corrupt and rigged. I thought about that. I thought about every I'm trying to, again, I'm playing tennis in my mind to some degree, going back and forth. 4th of July, every year I talk about the 4th of July. I mean, I like the barbecues, all well and good. I like to entertain. I like to have a good time as much as the next person does. Great memories from when I was a kid and going to my cousins and swimming and playing wiffle ball all day. And, those days when you're a kid where they never just seems to end. It's just, some great memories there. But 4th of July has always, it's bothered me in the sense that, you get all of these people out there. All right, Americans coming together and watching the fireworks and waving flags and all this stuff. And there's a large swath of this country that want nothing to do with freedom. Zip, zero, zilch. They don't want anything to do with freedom. They want stuff. They're more than happy to have the government take care of them. That's not freedom. That's not freedom. Yeah, freedom's about, and I talk about this with my kids. My daughter, I'm going to be 18 in September. Yeah, I'm going to be an adult. No, you're not. Maybe in the eyes of the law, but you're not an adult. You're not an adult until, guess what? You can take care of yourself. You can pay your own way. You're not reliant upon anyone else. Let's be honest here. We got a large swath of the country, pretty much man and women, children. Are they not? They can't make it on their own. And again, I'm not pushing back against safety nets. Shit happens. You should help out your fellow man, help get them on your feet. But it shouldn't be a way of life, and it has become a way of life for many people. This is why people do, freedom. Anyway, it's funny. And Neil Bortz talked about it on his show, and one of my favorite talk radio show hosts of all time. He was awesome, and I miss him. It was a bit of a difference. I was also a big fan of Limbaugh's as well. Limbaugh, on his program, he paid a great deal of respect to the American voter. And, I have faith in the American voter. And I'd be like, what are you talking about, Rush? You out of your mind? Where Neil, on the other hand, was like, people out here are idiots, and I don't want them anywhere near a voting booth. And I'm kind of more in the Neil Bortz camp. But when I see this story talking about more than 50% of respondents feeling that the government is corrupt and rigged, that's a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction. You might feel that way, but what are you going to do about it? You're going to go into the voting booth and you're going to continue to pull the lever for the same damn people again and again and again? Or are you going to start opening your mouth? You're going to start getting involved and, I don't know, maybe run yourself. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't asked, but I most certainly, as you all know, I'd be in that camp of government being corrupt and rigged. And you're talking about the 4th of July. Well, the 4th of July of this, I love this country. I love the Constitution. I love the values. You go take a look at how smart these guys were, the Federalist Papers. The stuff, you talk about the type of thinking that went involved, that was involved with the creation of this Constitution. Thinking out all of the consequences of certain things, what could possibly happen, look into history, try not to make mistakes. And they put together this pretty amazing document. Is it flawed? Yeah. It didn't abolish slavery. It had its issues. And guess what? The beauty of the document was you able to deal with those issues. But again, my thoughts on the 4th of July. We're going to end on this one. I actually had this sent to me by one of our listeners. Hey, Chris, did you see this? Yeah, I did, and it doesn't surprise me. Disney, home of the, $20 mac and cheese for the kids, is now selling a $5,000 drink on the Disney Wish cruise ship. I guess this Disney Wish cruise ship has got some bar on it that is supposed to be like out of Star Wars. And they have a drink that costs $5,000. They won't even tell you what's in it. But it's $5,000. And it's funny. People get all, how could they do that? That's terrible. Who would do that? Why would they? Because they can. Because some people out there will buy it. That's all. And I mean, what are you going to do? Someone's willing to spend $5,000 on a cocktail. Sell it to them. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I get a kick out of this stuff, especially in today's day and age when, you got all these fake money out there that people will buy and NFTs and all this other crap. Okay? Listen, I wouldn't be caught dead buying a $5,000 cocktail. But again, stupid is as stupid does. People free to do with their money that they want to. And, Disney's free to take it. I mentioned it. I don't do Disney. Not my bag by any stretch of the imagination. And I like rides. At least I used to. I haven't been on rides in a while. I wonder how they started to sit with me at my age. But anyway, watchdogonwallstreet.com, watchdogonwallstreet.com. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.